Hey guys, so we're gonna do this Draw My Life thingy because I was thinking we hit 30k subscribers. So on the way to Shelfside 40k one day.
Yeah.
And we have here our resident artist, Steven.
I practice every day. You know, I've in high school is known as the Picasso.
This video is brought to you by Ascension, a private World of Warcraft server where you can play for the Horde. It revolves around being classless, where you can pick your own unique hero by combining abilities from all classes. I gave it a quick run and it was a fun mix of nostalgia with added quality of life stuff. Like, the game feels much faster with the draft builds, where you can just learn preset ability trees to combo together. I used the Wind Berserker in the starting area and it was so fast. You can go even faster with the leveling draft builds. If only I had this in college.
Dude, this is so much different. It's like a ton, it's not lagging at all. There's a ton of people here.
The new season also has tons of new modes, including the wildcard mode. When we tried it out, it was super busy. It's where you get random abilities as you level, and you can roll a loadout right when you start, and you can re-roll it for the Horde. So click the link in the description below to play Ascension WoW, Destiny's Dawn for the new season. Now back to the video. Are you ready to do this?
No.
Okay, the Shelfside story begins now. I've always been into games in general, but let's go way back and reverse the clock to elementary school. Oh, by the way, I met Steven in preschool, which is awesome. But in second grade, a super skinny new kid moves in, and I have no idea how we get talking, but we start playing all sorts of games. Granted, as a 7-year-old or whatever, you don't really know many games, but this guy knew chess, which was like the next level game because Steven and I would always play checkers. Anyways, this Daniel kid taught me chess, then later handball, and heck, I got pretty good at both of them. He also taught me the correct way to play Yu-Gi-Oh!, which was hilarious because we always thought it was like the show where you just play the strongest monsters without any semblance of sacrificing. Like Blue Eyes White Dragon, go, sort of thing. We became extremely close buds, and he was teaching me all these chess and Yu-Gi-Oh! Concepts that still stick with me today. And then I remember I would invite Steven over to my house for HeroScape, Legos, and lots of video games. Probably my mom constantly telling me not to play video games and to play board games instead had something to do with me liking board games so much. Maybe something there? Brainwashed? We all keep playing games over the years. There's birthday parties, yada yada, all that stuff. We also individually got into RPG in the schoolyard, which is literally tabletop RPG, without dice or booklets and played while sitting on the floor. I would game master for people, they would bribe me to boost their character. I came up with something called Drunk RPG, good times. It was also during middle school when I started getting into videography. Yep, I watched other YouTubers and I wanted to be just like them. And I thought I could be this hot stuff and make it, so I would get together my friends for video shoots. Steven was like the main character for most of them. At the beginning, we would literally just go to Steven's backyard and I had a camera and a tripod and I would just tell Steven to do something. I remember our moms being so happy about it. Steven's mom was ecstatic. We made a website called Write On Productions, like R-I-T-E, and we would plan our next shoot. I would use Windows Movie Maker to edit everything. I thought it was so cool, and one day I showed my aunt one of the videos. It was one of like the more serious, edgy action ones, and she said, "How cute." You know, that's definitely huge praise, but at the time, I thought we made the most serious epic thing ever. It was kind of a weird disconnect. Anyways, none of these videos went on YouTube, and Write On Productions fizzled out. However, it was in 8th grade when I realized that I could hide my face online and be a Yugi-tuber with Daniel. So I came up with the name Ray Lusted, which actually doesn't mean anything perverted, it's just that I was obsessed with the name Ray and just needed it to be a longer name. So I was Ray and Daniel was Lust, and we didn't show our faces and did unboxings, strategy guides, and deck profiles. Some videos actually got some hits, but none of them made us money because our sub count was so low. There was another YouTube channel that was a little bit more embarrassing and I almost cut it out of this video, but whatever, let's just talk about it. So this one was a lot more bare bones where I would just talk to my webcam and make funny skits. One was about making fun of Asian eyes and my mom would send it out to all her distant family and they were kind of making fun of it a little bit. Still, I ended up making like 5 videos for that channel. I had some Yu-Gi-Oh! Skit with Steven too at some point where we screamed "Blue Eyes White Dragon." I should probably go watch that again after this. our debate team had a Yu-Gi-Oh! Craze renaissance. And hey, look at that, I was the guy who could answer questions on rulings and deck building and strategies and basically everything. It was mostly my year and the year above us who played regularly, so it was essentially an unofficial Yu-Gi-Oh! Club with like 15 people. I very clearly remember the head of speech and debate coming over and being like, "Hey, no gambling!" Cause she thought we were playing poker, but no, it's just a children's card game. Wait, huh? At the very least, every Friday after school I had about 2 to 4 duels going on at once. I would rush home every day to read up Pojo magazine forums and abuse the heck out of Dueling Network, which was like tabletop simulator for Yu-Gi-Oh! It's here I got close with some guys older than me that would drive us to card game shops and tournaments too. Preparing and even winning some tournaments are core memories for sure. I remember the star quarterback really got into it, and one day I noticed that he was playing even more Dueling Network than me. He even hosted a tournament in his backyard one day, which was mad fun. And Ray Lusted was uploading strong, and I would regularly bring my camera to school to film people's deck profiles. However, it was in freshman year that Daniel ended up going to another high school for health reasons, so we're gonna put him in the background for now. I just kept playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And then one day I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could play Yu-Gi-Oh! Multiplayer? So we played 2v2. Then I was like, hey, do you guys want to play with 5 players for this D&D-ish game I have called HeroQuest? Oh, we can all play this game at the same time and we don't have to have expensive decks to have fun. What really kicked it off was my junior year history teacher introducing Battlestar Galactica and Tabletop by Will Wheaton to us. I even played some games with him after school and he lent me Arkham Horror 1st Edition. It was here that I was full in on the hobby and I went bananas researching and buying games, since I happened to have a really sick cash gig working in a Chinese vegetable stand at a farmer's market. I remember going to Barnes & Noble every week on Friday with friends, buying Battlestar Galactica, Descent, Splendor, man, the list goes on and on. Ray Lusted was starting to fade out, it was all in on board gaming. I remember talking to my contacts in the schoolyard, whether they be from Yu-Gi-Oh!, the school club I created, or just other friends of friends who were curious. There were potential gamers everywhere. I remember I would ask people to walk over to my house after school and Battlestar Galactica would blow our minds. One of those games we played at my house, we actually had a shack we played inside my backyard. Anyways, the game was Game of Thrones 2nd Edition, of which is how I actually ended up reuniting with Daniel. We were down a player on one game afternoon since it's best with 6 players, and I was like, man, I need a player. Sure, I remember Daniel is really good at games, why don't I call him? So he said, heck yeah, spontaneously walked over to my house, and we just started hanging out regularly again after that. High school is a bajillion things, so can't talk about it forever. I guess what would be relevant later on is the school club I said earlier. This was a social club I ran for 2 years, and while the focus was on good deeds to strangers, I ended up enjoying making hype videos for promotion the most. That actually spurred another YouTube channel where Daniel and I would make music videos, taking our friends from high school and giving them silly or serious things to act out. Really fun just shooting at the mall, going to random locations, and just hanging out while filming and then going home and seeing what would happen in the editing booth. Daniel and I did play around with the idea of making a board game channel too, and even shot a review, but that didn't get published, but we did call it Shelfside. After high school, Daniel and I would again part ways. I really wasn't sure what I wanted to pursue. Business or something film related sounded nice. I ended up picking a university with a prestigious economics program and hilariously brought a quarter of my board game collection to college. I tried introducing it to people there, but it wasn't quite the same magic as high school. And for a career path, I really wasn't sure. I was bouncing around accounting jobs, economics classes, and I even interned at NASA for a summer doing their photo and video. At a high-tech business development internship, I remember being so bored and slowly migrating towards the film department there. This was my 3rd summer of college, and I was like, hey, so do you think I could work here full-time after I graduate college? And then it looked like I had a career lined up in corporate video. Senior year college was pretty relaxed with getting to play more board games and pursuing music. But then a couple months in, suddenly the head of that high-tech corporate video told me that he quit. And then there was no space for me because the department already got filled. So that was bad, real bad. I had 0 other things lined up, and the guy said he quit because he insisted it was quite unfulfilling, which was pretty bad news to hear. I was doing some quick thinking on the spot about all my YouTube ventures, and I was like, hey, what if I try a YouTube channel for a job career thingy? And he said, yeah, just give it a year and you should be good. Then I was like, okay, sounds pretty reasonable, only 1 year. I immediately called Daniel and I asked him if he was interested in actually doing YouTube as a career with me and covering board games. And he said, well, heck, I've always wanted to do YouTube, so this sounds like a great time to start. If I could do it with you, that would be awesome. We talked logistics, including coming up with our out of 10 scoring system, which is taken from Angry Joe. And I had ideas on how videos would look like with my video background and watching tons of board game reviews all throughout high school. Since I was taking business classes at the time, I wrote up business plans and showed it to my professors. They were kind of stumped because they didn't really get startup ideas like this. One professor even said she went home and researched it and said board games seemed like a nice growing segment. In the end, they pretty much all just told me to go for it. But you know who wasn't so sure? My family. In fact, my mom had huge reservations, which makes sense. I spent 4 years in this great economics program to just forego it. Honestly, my mom is decently open-minded, and she did play around with the possibility of me being an actual star. She said, maybe you can be like that Higa guy. Maybe. Are you sure you want to do this? Just graduate college, okay? For Daniel and I, the plan was, okay, we're gonna give ourselves 1 year. 1 year to hit 1,000 subscribers. If we don't do it, we won't quit, but we'll get some day jobs and at least we'll have our college degrees, which are both solid. We graduate college, then in July 2019, there was one final discussion to have. I went to Daniel's house with my parents, and so it was me, Daniel, and our parents all sitting around a dining room table. Daniel and I were throwing out numbers and Reddit, the growth of the industry, how we would grow, and what our milestones could be. But I just don't think it clicked with the parents. Definitely is kind of a cultural and generational difference. On their mind was, what would we do if it failed? Why throw away our degrees? You could be making actual money working for a big tech company like everyone else your age does. But you know what? Okay, fine, they're just young kids. Just let them do it and see what happens. Let us see, and we will be there when they maybe do not make it. And it was definitely terrible at first. Oh, it was fun, very fun, getting to experiment on how to make a review, being free from college, and just being on this completely freeform journey where we had no bosses, no tests, and no commute. I'm gonna inject a quick anecdote about starting out. I remember playing basketball with a buddy outdoors, and when his mom came to pick him up, she asked, what do I do? So I told her I was running a YouTube channel with a friend. Then she asked how many subscribers I had, and I said, about, looks like 17 right now. And she said, oh. But then the next week, when she came to pick up her son, she told me she watched a video, and I'm pretty sure it was the Suburbia review, and she said it was quite professional. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. At least we aren't totally weird and jank. So anyways, back to the main flow of things, all this fun had a huge tension at the back of my head. We had to get 1,000 subs in 1 year, so I didn't feel like a failure. And I think we would get like 30 or so views on videos. I distinctly remember making a Pictomania review which got 2 views a day after release, as in like me and Daniel were the only ones that watched it. Our strategy, put our head down and crank content even harder. Just get content out there, just make it good and get it out, week after week. Our speed was due to us having a huge backlog of games we've played many times prior to starting the channel. It was polish away at the process, polish away and polish away. The Dune video got some traction, then Wingspan, then Eldritch Horror. But it wasn't quite enough subs. I think we're sitting at around 250 or 300 come 6 months in. And I would be ecstatic about each new subscriber back when we would get notified about individual ones with the bell. It was around this time too that Daniel picked up some new game called Gloomhaven that looked interesting to him. Then there was something about a virus from Asia talked about, what the heck is that? Who cares? I remember saying over Korean barbecue dinner with a bunch of buddies from high school. Next week, everything was on shutdown, which means Daniel and I could no longer film together. This meant we really had to start adapting. And a couple months into the lockdown, Daniel came out with Every Gloomhaven Scoundrel Ever, and it was pretty viral. It got posted on a bunch of subreddits, we made front page of our Gloomhaven and our board games, and Paul from Shut Up and Sit Down even tweeted it. Basically, we jumped 400 subscribers overnight, which was exhilarating, and there was such a sigh of relief in how we would actually hit the 1K sub milestone quite soon. Then I got the fun idea to make one of my first sketch videos about the progression of a board gamer. I remember hammering out the script via video chat with one of my old Yu-Gi-Oh friends who lives across the country, then continuing to tweak the script while I had my socially distanced property management part-time job. It took about 4 days to shoot, and I just thought it was another one of my videos, and then bam! Huge virality. It was #1 on the front page of our board games and kept getting passed around on Facebook. That, plus my tier listing my entire board game collection video, jumped our channel to about 2,000, then 3,000 subscribers under a week. It was like every time I log into YouTube now, I can feel the energy of people watching videos. There's actually the 9+ in the notification bell. We were supposed to have a 1,000 subscriber party, but alas, cannot meet up with a virus going around. The success kept coming with our Jaws of the Line review, board game table video, War of the Ring review, and Daniel's continued Gloomhaven shorts. Needless to say, the upward trajectory felt awesome. I went from hoping we would have a video hit 1,000 views, to multiple videos being well over 10K, and some over 50K or 75K views, which had me grinning from ear to ear. Like, people are actually watching the videos, and there are people helping to make this happen through our Patreon. Holy cow, $20 from one person. Like, now I can actually go eat out for dinner and not have to do these mental exercises in my head to justify the cost. It actually felt like a point where there'd be more watch time than it took me to make the videos. Still, I had to work other side jobs like dog walking, music tutoring, and I even got an eBay business running quite well. I distinctly remember that there were some months that the channel just wasn't making much money at all, but I would always keep my head up and think about the growth just over the horizon. And then it would be the next month maybe we'd make more money, or maybe the month after that. It's coming, okay? There will be a day. The sponsorships slowly began to tick up, which was something I've always wanted in my entire life. People were sending me stuff and paying me some money to actually make a video. In fact, I remember doing sponsored content for free for a while because I was so excited to work with people on their game. Obviously, my Asian American family was highly skeptical still, especially since it was well past the 1-year mark at this point, and it was not making as much money as a normal job, and I should be more like person XYZ. I kept hearing things like, maybe you should start applying for full-time jobs just in case. Or maybe you should pivot the channel to something else instead of board games, or go work for corporate video again, isn't that fun? It's not just family too. I was getting a little tired of the weird looks on acquaintances' faces because it's pretty jarring once they're a little confused and uncomfortable on what you do, and you can tell they're wondering if you're some type of bum that drove their life into the ground. Like, board games, you mean for kids? Granted, I really did play around with becoming a waiter for a nice steakhouse or Japanese restaurant to get some free food as well, and it probably would have happened if the virus didn't hit so hard. So then I started thinking more techie. What if I got a really sick IT job where I don't have to do so much work? A family friend recommended becoming a ServiceNow administrator. She said it was great, you can make so much money. I bought a Coursera lesson, completed it, took a test online with a webcam making sure I don't cheat, and so 6 months later of this whole ordeal, I was a ServiceNow certified administrator. Yet, breaking into the industry was proving harder than I thought. I remember the best job offer I got was working at Facebook as the part-time person that would just scan people in. It didn't really make much sense monetarily given the 30-minute commute there, but I could say I now turned down a job offer to work for Facebook. Not really. As a whole, I just continued to put my head down and kept working and churning out reviews, more sketch ideas, more stereotype videos, and getting Pranav and Adam and Steven and Tim from New York City and countless other friends to help out in all their numerous ways. It's kind of weird to think about, but playing a board game with me is helping me out with the channel. A typical full day would look like filming in the morning, editing in the afternoon, then working on a script for another project after dinner, combined with paperwork and emails and all that stuff at night. Our traction just slowly ratcheted up, and it continued to amaze me how people will actually watch the videos. It's really quite an uplifting feeling and motivating after all these years. Getting to read all the comments helps us make better and better videos, and it's pretty magical to me to see how reviews are now compared to at the start and how many cool people we get to work with. Like, I recall when we used to not script reviews and just use bullet points, or have extremely shoddy lighting even though our cameras were sick, or us not even using tripods and just hand-holding our filming of components. It's the growth of the channel, it's the growth of the videos, and getting to work on these new types of projects, this one included, that is so fun. To all my Asian American or immigrant or just high expectation family homies out there, I'm gonna end with an anecdote about how my mom came around on it all. It was actually the Monster Hunter press conference in England, because she would always tell me how great it would be to travel when you're young, if you work for a big company, and then see the world on the company's dime. Well, it turns out that you can do that through a YouTube channel, which was the nail in a coffin that this was a very legitimate thing to her. With that, and Vegas and recently Abu Dhabi, she is extremely supportive. I do remember her saying a couple months ago, "So, it looks like you finally made it. But why did it take so long?" Oh my gosh, Mom. Basically, don't let other people's ideas about your life be your life, but you can still love them and know they care about you in their way. Hopefully this is inspiring in some internet way. Anyways, it has been pretty crazy to see all the different directions that Shelfside has come. Obviously, lots of details were glossed over in this video to prevent this from being a whole book's length. And yes, of course, more stuff is coming for real. You can see that? That's it. That's what I think. That's what I think. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. I thought I'd get this out for like an end of the year gift to you all. Happy holidays to everyone, and big shout out to my buddy, Steven, Mr. Hufflebottom. If you want to follow him, he's right there. He's the one that did all the art for this video. Thank you, man. I know it was kind of short timing to get this all out, but Steven did a great job. We also got all our patrons right here to thank. Thank you guys. I know some of you have been here since like the beginning, so that's pretty sick. We also got our Mad Lads cardboard right here. And yeah, that's it for the video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Bye-bye.
That was a lot more painless than I was expecting.
Yeah. Just gotta do it like 18 more times.
Easy.
Yeah.